I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Last week, for the Ravens matchup, I was telling you I was very confident that the Chiefs would win that game because of the number of injuries the Ravens had sustained going into that game. And if you looked at the spread, the Ravens were favored by 1.5 points, 2.5 points to win that game versus Kansas City. No one else from the pundits out there was as confident in the Chiefs as I thought they should have been to win that game. In fact, 7 of the 8 commentators on CBS predicted the Ravens to win that game. I felt like the Chiefs should have been favorites by a decent amount of points. And I was looking around at all the pundits, all the talk that was going on leading up to that game, and I just could not understand why the Ravens were favored in that game. And sure enough, the game takes place, and the Chiefs win handily. The Ravens' defense is decimated. I just have a hard time understanding the rationale behind why the Chiefs were not favored in that game, why people were so down on the Chiefs, and why it was viewed as an equal footing. The betting line didn't change that much, so that meant both sides were betting equally between those two teams, and it blows my mind that no one took into account the fact that the Ravens had 5 starters on defense that were injured, and the impact that would create. The NFL games are played predominantly with 22 players. You have your 22 best players. They take most of the snaps. And whenever you're missing 5, 6, 7 of those, that's too big of a chunk to overcome. And the people who are saying the Ravens are terrible, I'm not believing that. I don't believe the Ravens are terrible. I think they just have a lot of injuries they're dealing with, and if they can get healthy, they'll be better at the end of the year. But until they get healthy, it's going to be a tough road for them. So, long story short, the Chiefs won that game. Their offense looked pretty good. The Ravens' defense looked terrible. And I want to just take that entire game with a grain of salt. Yes, the Chiefs got Xavier Worthy back. Yes, they scored 37 points. Yes, they had a good offensive game. But the Ravens' defense is terrible. You know, I liken this game back to looking like the Chiefs did in 2022 and 2021 when they had Tyreek Hill and prime Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins. The reason the Chiefs looked so good offensively back then was, 1, because I think that they maybe had a better offensive coordinator at the time, but 2, talent-wise, they were just light years above any of the defensive teams they were playing. Fast forward to 2025, Week 3 versus the Ravens. The Chiefs looked very good against the Ravens' defense because talent-wise, they were significantly better than the Ravens' defensive players. So this was a talent issue for the Chiefs' offense. I don't necessarily say talent issue, but it's a talent advantage for the Chiefs' offense in this game. That's why they looked so good. And going into this matchup versus the Jaguars and the rest of the NFL teams, they're not going to have this big of a talent advantage until perhaps Rashee Rice comes back. So I don't want Chiefs Kingdom to look at this one game versus the Ravens and think to themselves, wow, the Chiefs defense now that Xavier Worthy's back is going to be, one of the best offenses. Sorry, the Chiefs' offense, now that Xavier Worthy's back, is not going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL. I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to think that because they had such a good game versus this decimated Ravens group when Xavier Worthy came back that they're going to be awesome because of Xavier Worthy. No, they were awesome because the talent was just too great. There was too great of a divide between the talent on the Ravens defense and the Chiefs offense. That's why the Chiefs looked like the 2020 Chiefs, the 2019 Chiefs, the 2018 Chiefs. Not because of this offensive unit being that awesome. I do not think they're going to have that big of a talent disparity until Rashee Rice comes back and they can stay healthy. Now, all that said, Xavier Worthy did help this offense quite a bit. You could tell immediately he was going to have a huge impact in the game, stretching the defense, opening things up for other receivers. You had a good jet sweep. He's going to be a good key to this offense, and the Chiefs need him over these next few games so they can survive until Rashee Rice gets back. And speaking of surviving, they need to survive this matchup with the Jaguars. Looking at the start of their schedule this season, they knew they were going to have 6 tough games after Rashee Rice got suspended. What are they going to do in those 6 games? Can they go 4-2? Will they go 3-3? Will they be worse? They just need to survive these first brutal 6 weeks. That win against the Ravens was huge, and it's going to help them. But now they're moving on to Jacksonville. And before we get to Jacksonville, let's hear from our sponsor.
Prophet X, America's #1 sports prediction market, is a peer-to-peer sports prediction market where users play against each other instead of a sports book versus the house. You will almost always get the best price on any spread, money line, total, or player prop since you're playing against other people rather than the book. Prophet X offers sweepstakes-based dual currency system, either Profit Points or Profit Cash, and operates across 40 states. Use the promo code RGR and claim up to $200 in Profit Cash on all plays for the first 30 days playing on the site. ProfitX gives you the best lines in the space, and you can even set your own odds on specific wagers on your players, all at ProfitX. Go there and use the code RGR. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Looking at the Jacksonville team, they are 3-1. They've beat Carolina, they've lost to Cincinnati, they've beat Houston, and they've beat San Francisco. Overall, their schedule has not been very difficult, but still, they're 3-1 nonetheless. That one loss versus the Bengals came against a Bengals team that lost Joe Burrow in the middle of the game. Jake Browning comes in and led the Bengals to victory. So this is a Jacksonville team that has a good record, has beaten mediocre and bad teams, and lost to one team that I think with Jake Browning is not very good. Pair that with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have lost 2 games, both to very good opponents, and they've won 2 games. One versus a bad opponent, one versus we don't know how good the Ravens are with their injured defense. So this is a good measuring stick game to see where the Chiefs are currently, to see if they can beat a team that perhaps will make it to the playoffs in 2025. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a shot to make the playoffs. They have a shot to win the AFC South if they keep playing the way that they're doing. Offensively, the Jaguars have the number 16 scoring offense. They have not been lights out on offense. They've been a much better defensive team, having the 5th best points per game defense. They've gotten there by forcing the most turnovers in the NFL. So turnovers to me are a noisy statistic. They happen almost randomly, unless you have ball hawks that just can take the ball away consistently. I think Jacksonville's roster has a bit of a few of those ball hawks, a few of those guys that can force turnovers, but I also think they've gotten lucky in some cases, getting fumbles, through a few bad passes. So this Jaguars defense is up for a challenge against Kansas City's offense, especially if Trayvon Walker can't play. So last week versus the 49ers, Trayvon Walker injured his wrist. He's week to week according to their coach, and his official status currently is questionable. But as of yesterday, he was getting more evaluations from specialists to look at his wrist. And if he does play versus the Chiefs, he will be wearing a cast over that wrist to protect it. The Jaguars' offense runs through Travis Etienne. If the Chiefs are looking to stop the Jaguars' offense, they need to stop Travis Etienne. Because of the way the Chiefs play run defense, I think this is a bad matchup for Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence has thrown for 211 yards per game so far in 2025, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, has not looked amazing, and the Jaguars really are relying on Etienne to carry the load. If Etienne gets stopped and the Chiefs can make the Jaguars one-dimensional, the primary pass-catching weapons would be Brenton Strange, their tight end, Brian Thomas, Diami Brown. If he's healthy, he should be ready to play this week. And then, lastly, their number 1 overall draft pick, Travis Hunter. Very exciting kid to watch. And right now, those passing options, there's no one on the team for the Jaguars that is averaging over, 50 yards per game so far in this young season. Brenton Strange has the most receiving yards for them at 182. So this is a team that wants to run the ball and throw the tight ends. We'll see if the Chiefs can stop that. I think they're specifically well geared to stopping this offense, both from a personnel standpoint and a schematic standpoint for Spags. I think strategically for this game, this will be a low-scoring game. Both teams have good defenses. I think the Chiefs have the capability to hold the Jaguars to under 17 points. So that's my line of delineation for the Chiefs. I want to hold Jacksonville to under 17 points. If they can do that, I think they're going to win the game. If they can't, we'll see what happens. Strategically, again, since this is going to be a defensive football game, scoring is going to be difficult. I want Andy Reid and the Chiefs coaching staff to take the points when they have the opportunity to get them. If you're at 4th and 2 from the opponent's 20-yard line, I want them to kick that field goal. Yes, Butker has had some struggles, but there's nothing showing throughout the entirety of his career that these struggles Butker is having will be a season-long problem. I have confidence Butker is going to get it figured out. And if the Chiefs have the opportunity to take points in this defensive football game, which it should be a defensive football game, the Chiefs should take those points. If the Chiefs have a 4th and 2 around the 50-yard line and it's not late in the game, they're not down by a lot of points, I want the Chiefs to punt the ball. There's no reason to give the Jaguars extra momentum by turning the ball over in the middle of the field, giving them a short field. You want to make the Jaguars drive the length of the field, play the ball control game in this football game. And if the Chiefs play sound defense like I know they can, mind their run gaps just like they did last week versus the Ravens, this should be a fairly easy Chiefs win just because they match up very well with this Jaguars group defensively. Offensively, it's going to be difficult for the Chiefs to move the ball with regularity. The Jaguars are very healthy. They've got a lot of good players on the defensive side of the ball. If Trayvon Walker is out, that's going to hurt them quite a bit. He is their best pass rusher. So whether or not he can play is going to make a huge impact in this game. But I have the Chiefs winning this game by a score of 20-14. I think it's a defensive football game. Chiefs come out ahead. They've been playing very good defense so far this year. We're going to see a continuation of that heading into this matchup versus Jacksonville. But that's my take. What's your score prediction this week? Let me know down in the comments. And since you made it this long, you might as well hit that like button and subscribe if you have not done so already. RGR Football here. We keep growing every week, and we've got you, the fans, to thank so much for all your support with everything we do. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching our videos and supporting us. But this is Gary signing out. Let me know your score predictions down in the comments. What do you think this game is going to end up being? Y'all take care.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.